All right, Breach. The Fighting Joe Flacco's one of the best teams in the AFC. They're 10-5, which is Crazy Town, USA. They're 2 games better in the score sheet, the record column, than the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are the number 4 seed, but they're top the AFC South, so that's why they're one spot ahead of them. I said maybe for 2 weeks now that I think that the Browns are going to win a playoff game. They were beating the pants off of the C.J. Stroudless Texans, and they were up 36-7 in the fourth quarter before Texans got a few touchdowns there to make it relatively close. Joe Flacco makes the Browns a legit contender to the tune of 1 playoff win, 1+ playoff wins. Where are you on Joe Flacco and the Browns?
Look, I think we know that I'm the unofficial president of the Joe Flacco fan club. After he won that first game.
What are you talking about?
After he won the first game, I went on the Power Ranking show that Tuesday and said, what if Joe Flacco's so good he gets the Browns to the Super Bowl? Because he looked that good. I mean, it is almost impossible to believe that he sat at home for 11 weeks because no one called him. This guy was willing to be a backup quarterback. He was willing to sit on a bench. He didn't even need to be playing, and no one wanted him. And the Browns come out and they say, Joe, come play for us. And now we're talking about throws for over 300 yards in the 3rd straight game. The first Browns quarterback to ever do that in franchise history when they win all 3 games. They've had quarterbacks throw for 300 yards but not win all 3 games. And then the 3rd oldest quarterback in NFL history to throw for 300 yards in 3 consecutive games. What he's doing is absolutely unheard of. Now, the question is it going to be one of those where you have the backup quarterback in Jake Browning, Josh Dobbs, whatever, where they come, they play lights out for 3 or 4 games, and then they crash back to earth? Is that what's going to happen with Joe Flacco? No. Or because he's such a veteran, he knows what he's doing. He has a very good understanding of Kevin Stefanski's offense. He has a great connection with Amari Cooper. Is he going to keep playing at this level? And if he keeps playing at this level, why can't this team win a couple playoff games? Look at the AFC. They already beat the Ravens once. That's sure the team you're most worried about. I could see this team beating the Chiefs. This defense is good enough to beat anyone. All they need is a little bit of quarterback help, and I think Flacco's good enough to get them to an AFC title game.
I think it was doing Christmas week. You do a lot of driving. I believe it was Mark Sessler of Around the NFL podcast. Love Sess. Pointing out that this has Major League 98 Vinny Testaverde vibes, where they went 12-1 with Testaverde, who was 35 at the time, 38, new 35. Flacco's dropped back 40 plus times in all 4 of his games. They can't run the ball at all, and Flacco's just winging it. Him and Amari Cooper, Amari Cooper could have gone for 350 yards in this game. Like broken Flipper, or is it Flipper Anderson, like
336?
336, that's right. I should know that because that's my area code of my telephone.
Shout out.
Hashtag 336. Keenan Allen, amongst others, Torrey Holt, shout out. Anyway, if the 49ers and Cowboys had won, there's not a crazy, and I wrote about this on Sunday, not a crazy chance of the Browns getting the 1 seed. As it stands, I do not think you want to play Joe Flacco in the playoffs.
All right, well, let me ask. I don't know if you were, because Breach didn't answer the question. I've said for a while they're going to win 1 playoff game. Are they going to win more than 1 playoff game?
I kind of think so.
Over-under's 1.5. What are you taking?
Is it over plus money?
Who would you take in a Browns-Dolphins divisional game in Miami?
Cleveland, baby. Cleveland's over 500. Joe Flacco's slinging
I don't think producer Harry wants that Joe Flacco smoke.
If I'm the Ravens,
you don't want January Joe.
You don't want January Joe smoke.
Okay. All right. Can we look at Joe Flacco's numbers? All right. All right. I'm going to give out the numbers, and can somebody do the math and prorate these for me? But basically, is Joe Flacco, I think that Joe Flacco is on pace with 1,307 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 7 picks in 4 games with a 59.4% completion percentage. He's basically putting together 2012 Joe Flacco's regular season, but with more yards and more interceptions.
And he's not as mobile, but he's probably a better, smarter quarterback.
But he wasn't even like that mobile back in 2012. And he's got an elite or elite-ish number one. He's got a legit number one wide receiver in Amari Cooper. He's got a legit number one tight end in David Njoku, who's playing really well, especially considering he's like fell in a fire earlier this season. The defense is the best in football. I personally believe that Joe Flacco flipped a switch in the postseason. He just has that. So he has that, whatever the DNA, the gene, the vibe, the ability to be clutch. He has that. And I would not really would not want to play the Browns in the playoffs if January Joe was coming to town. I don't think he's going to lay some massive egg in one of these playoff spots. If the Browns get to 10, 11, 12 wins and they're there, I think they can. I'll take the over. I think they win. I mean, but 2+ playoff games.
You do have to be a little concerned with interceptions if they play a really, really good team, because obviously CJ Stroud wasn't starting this game. This is his second straight game with multiple interceptions. But to Brinson's point, real quick, you mentioned his yardage. If he played a 17-game season, he would be on pace for 5,554 yards, which would smash the NFL single-season record. Joe Flacco, in 4 starts, already leads the Browns in passing yards and passing touchdowns this season. Deshaun Watson had 6 starts. Flacco's passed all his numbers. DTR had 3 starts. Obviously, Flacco not even in the same
I also
world.
think it's worth noting that Joe Flacco is doing all the things that Kevin Stefanski is asking him to do as part of this offense and within the structure of this offense. And the Browns' offense as a whole looks substantially better than it ever did with Deshaun Watson doing everything outside of the structure of the offense.
So to back up Breach's quick math there, again, looking at our buddies at True Media, in terms of Week 16, Joe Flacco is 3rd in terms of EPA after Matthew Stafford and Josh Allen. And
oh my
he
God,
was
absolute Brinson porn.
5th of, yeah, no kidding. Keep your pants on. He was 5th in explosive plays per dropback. He was 6th in first downs per pass attempts. He was fantastic against the blitz. I mean, it goes on, and it just portends good things.